What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
You know me, Chris. It's a Wednesday. We're here. We're going to talk about some video games, right?
Yes, man. This is a jam-packed show, and we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because this show would not be possible without all your guys' supports, and even the ladies out there. Trust me, we have not forgotten about you. But we always like to start off the show with a bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulating all across the globe. So let's get it. Every gamer tackles their favorite game with either a controller or keyboard and mouse. But if you're aiming to dominate a Super Smash Bros. Tournament, you better be doing it with enough flair or risk being outstyled by the competition.
I finally found the Mac player who plays with Joy-Cons.
He's locked in. He's in the game. He's ready.
Come on. I mean, I've never been the kind of the person that's goes to the Joy-Con, but after watching that, could you imagine like actually getting some physical fitness going, like on the treadmill while playing Super Smash Brothers? I think I'm seeing something that I haven't seen before until now.
Maybe he's onto something.
I think he's onto something. Let's go ahead and read the first comment. The only guy who enjoys playing the game. Really? Are we completely falling off of Super Smash Brothers? I didn't know that was a thing. 51,000 people are clarifying this statement.
They haven't shown themselves at the Evo stage in a while because now Sony owns Evo, and there's like a certain stereotype on the type of people who end up playing Super Smash Brothers that a lot of people want to stay away from.
But they're saying this is the only guy who enjoys playing the game. I mean, what if we have some big grand opening when the Switch 2 comes out with another edition of Super Smash Brothers? Are you 51,000 players are not going to participate? You're
I mean, they better hope they fixed their netcode at that point, because that's a thing that a lot of people care about.
What's the netcode?
Well, it's the whole thing. When we talked about Tekken, remember, back when we did that, a big thing was the rollback netcode. People who play fighting games online, they love having that feature because it makes the fighting in the games actually fair.
Oh, okay,
and not
fair
feel like
enough.
You have an advantage or disadvantage based on your latency. So.
But people clearly are having a blast watching this fellow, because this person wrote, not going to lie, I actually applaud this guy. Bro looks like he's having a lot of fun, with the last comment saying, a main stage is kind of fire, though he'd just be decent. So, I mean, you can be having all the showboat, all on the glory stage, but, sometimes, a little bit of flair doesn't really add up in the end. But, hauling heavy cargo with the 24-wheel rig is no joke. So maybe making Trucking Simulator a prerequisite before handing out the keys wouldn't be such a bad idea. You're going to understand what I'm talking about in a second, because if you can handle virtual traffic jams without a scratch, you're halfway to mastering the real deal. So let's go ahead and show you that viral clip.
Beautiful.
It's gonna get a little sticky right here. I can't wait. I can't wait on all these people, bro. I'll be waiting all day to get around. Oh my god, it had to be that guy. Oh no, hope no one likes that. Oh no. Okay. Not a good.
Hey, he only made a couple of drivers lose their footing on the road. That's better than some people can say. But does this not remind you of that one scene in King of the Hill where they're having to drive a truck backwards down a mountain?
Yeah, exactly. I'm assuming Amazon's got all eyes on this gentleman and is going, we're going to need you for the holidays real soon. So if
we need this sort of dedication to get presents to people for the holidays.
Exactly. I mean, this guy wasn't going to stop for nobody. Safest street in Pakistan mountains.
Oh,
I don't know what that means. I've never been to Pakistan before, but like, I can only imagine the roads have got to be pretty wicked in that country.
I've seen videos. Yeah, they can be pretty treacherous.
This guy wrote, no FedEx driver this dedicated. This is a lie.
Sure? Oh, well, you know what? Maybe if it was UPS, because they're getting paid like $39 an hour, like $49 an hour or something, right?
Oh, okay.
Something wild like that.
So like FedEx is not being paid to the same standards of the rest of the shipping drivers out there across the world. I mean,
yeah.
Crazy. Driving on the streets on the edge, baby. And I love how the guy, even this person wrote, just like how the guy kind of whispered towards the end, nah, not really a good look on my end.
Yeah, no one likes that.
Right. But, I think this is a pretty epic meltdown over the weekend. Ninja was playing, Chapter 5, Season 4 in Fortnite after, basically getting super pissed off because he keeps getting taken out by a bot. So it looks like he's ready to trade in his pickaxe for a Call of Duty loadout, because if he's going to lose, he might as well do it with real players hacking the game before it comes out. I know we've already addressed this before, but Black Ops 6 hasn't had the prettiest rollout, but seems like Ninja is willing to join what he once referred to as the dark side. Let's go ahead and see this viral clip.
Bro, like, this fucking season is wild! Get out! How is this dude hitting me through this wall? Like, literally, are we gonna talk about it? Are we gonna fucking talk about that? My body is behind the wall! This guy is rotating from the other side, shooting me with his SMGs! What is happening, bro? I don't want to fucking play this game anymore. You get me off this shit. I'm going to con.
Yeah, I think his therapist is going to tell him he needs to take a break from playing the game for a little bit.
Yeah, if he has one, or maybe his girlfriend is not going to serve him another meal during stream if this kind of reaction keeps further elevating to a new problem inside the household, right?
Yeah, you could say that he rage quit.
But I mean, again, this is a person that has really elevated Fortnite to the standard that it is today. And even Ninja is just like the rest of us. You know what? It is kind of nice to kind of see some of these OG gamers kind of get sweated on every once in a while. It just kind of reminds you to stay humble.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You're eventually going to get dunked on in a game because there's always going to be someone better than you.
And you never know who's on the other end of the controller or keyboard and mouse, which makes it that much more legendary. I feel like I could beat Ninja at this point. So there's a lot of people that are just feeling like this is the downfall of Ninja himself.
People are saying he's fallen off, it seems like.
Maybe he's more focused on his podcast venture and less about gaming, which made him so popular in the end. And I love Ninja raging. Maybe he took a note out of Kai Cenat and I Show Speed. Ninja was the one at the end that kind of went viral too as well for saying that these guys, we've covered it right at the top of a couple episodes back where they were failing at this Minecraft hardcore mode, and Ninja came out and basically said, look, I think they're finessing everyone. They're basically doing this on purpose to keep losing because they're garnishing in over hundreds of thousands of concurrent viewers, which might be the case. But then again, maybe this is a ploy that you do, Ninja, to try to gravitate your own concurrent viewing audience. But then again,
I mean, people love seeing a train wreck, and if you are able to deliver that train wreck behavior to your audience, you're going to get publicity. And like they say, even bad publicity is still publicity.
But hey, we just wanted to take a moment for anybody that's watching us live right now, scan the QR code if you're not following my YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show in the future.
And go ahead and scan that QR code right down there, because that is a link to my YouTube channel. And go ahead and go over there, like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. There's stuff on there for you to watch, stuff on you to comment. Let me know what's good.
HenricK, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Absolutely. And I know what's coming up. We got pause or repeat.
Man, you said it so elegantly. Let's get it, baby.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Black Myth Wukong. This game has been in headlines for both controversy and praise, but setting aside any public opinions, this game is from Chinese studio Game Science and is their first real AAA entry, as their previous two entries were mobile games. Did they deliver on a AAA experience? Let's swing into the gameplay and see what lies in store. The gameplay of Black Myth Wukong is akin to titles like God of War, Devil May Cry, and even From Software's Soul series. It takes elements from each of those as inspiration, and delivers them to the player in an action-adventure RPG. You are equipped with lots of tools at your disposal in order to fight bosses and progress the story. From your staff to spells, skills, and transformations, there is plenty to tweak even after just the first chapter of the game. There are skill trees you can invest spark points into to unlock new skills or bolster already owned abilities, and you get sparks as you play the game and fight enemies. While the game is not open world, there's plenty to explore, and explore you will want to so that you don't miss out on some great boss fights. The game has 94 boss fights in total, and each boss fight gives you a reward to help you on your journey. Speaking of the journey, let's pivot to talking about the story. The story is heavily inspired by the Chinese novel titled Journey to the West. It involves the story of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, and as you can imagine, that is who you play as. In the opening of the game, you are defeated by the Celestial Court and sealed in a stone. Fast forward several centuries, and you take control of a monkey warrior who is destined for greatness and set out on a journey to collect the 6 lost relics of Sun Wukong. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? This game's got a lot of controversy around it recently, and I think, just to do due diligence to the game, let's set it aside for the conversation because we all know what it is. We actually went over it last week even. So let me ask you the question, is this game good? What do you think, Chris?
Man, I was going to say right off the top, these are my favorite type of video games. This reminded me of the OG God of War trilogy where dodging is the name of the game and blocking or parrying is just nothing compared. It's not even in the deck of cards. To me, that kind of style of gameplay that Black Myth Wukong offers is freaking intense. I feel like it's keeping my real life reflexes sharp in the process. What about yourself, HenricK?
No, yeah, it actually is a very fun game. I wouldn't say it's necessarily super hard. A lot of people were saying before it was coming out that it looked like it was going to be a Souls-like game. I wouldn't call it a Souls-like game because it doesn't have that level of difficulty.
But isn't that kind of refreshing, though? Because, we did get the expansion from Elden Ring, and we all know how that goes. That is just you want to, you're scratching your head. You're more slamming your forehead into the asphalt and grinding it.
You know what they're gonna say when you say that, Chris, and I'm gonna say it too. It's a skill issue.
It is because I feel
like that.
When you're playing the Elden Ring expansion, you feel like your head is on a cheese grater. You're constantly I don't understand why this is so freaking difficult. But I feel like with this just a beautiful adaptation of a 16th century Chinese novel, Journey to the West, you play as the Destined One, facing off, like you said, a variety of different bosses, from a black bear to a tiger. And I gotta also say, what's more terrifying, HenricK, than playing the first boss that just casually reveals a second health bar? I don't know about anybody else, but my heart was already pumping out of my chest. And then when that comes out, I was like, yes, just going back to the basics. I love it. And, the graphics in and alone of itself really makes you want to even explore that culture even more. And I think Black Myth Wukong is doing the job so well, and that's why there are so many players gravitating towards the game.
Yeah, it's got that mix of it's not a cakewalk, so you do have to put in some effort in the gameplay, and it does still have that element as well of you do feel actually powerful, especially when you start to unlock more of the abilities. And it actually, that gameplay does help deliver the story, because you don't start off the story as the Monkey King. You start off the story as just a standard monkey warrior who is going to collect the Sun Wukong relics to become the Monkey King eventually.
Right.
So it's a great way of storytelling even throughout the gameplay, and the story I think is solid. I mean, I'm not super familiar with Journey to the West because I didn't grow up with it.
I don't think a lot of people we're on the West End, right? The Western civilization. I don't think a good majority of us had any idea about it. And I think that's why some gamers kind of wish Black Myth Wukong kind of leaned more towards the exploration route, because they are loving this kind of style of linear approach to the storytelling. But maybe, with such a massive success, maybe they might perk their ears a little bit, and maybe you might get that kind of experience expansion, or you might get that kind of open world feeling of environment games. But I just kind of love that they went down this approach, because we've already been oversaturated enough with these like open world games. And so sometimes you just want a game that tells you exactly where to go, one straight line at a time.
Yeah, and they always have the opportunity to do something in the future now, because, I mean, they've made so much money off of the success of this game. So they definitely, Game Science I'm talking about, definitely has the opportunity to make something in the future, maybe open world if they want to, or maybe just tell another story from this, generation of literature from the 16th century, and maybe a different story. Maybe they'll go and explore Wukong's story in a different respect.
Yeah, it's
up to
going
them
to be
at this point.
Well, I mean, shout out to Game Science for the very first major, AAA console release. I mean, it's an excellent game. It really does kind of have some of that basic skill tree within its own game, if you can say. But I think they added features like spirits, where you can upgrade as you progress. I think it's fantastic, because nothing
it's actually a lot. I was really surprised.
There's a lot of different spirits. Yeah, you're right.
To unlock, because when I was first seeing gameplay, just in the trailers and all that, and I was like, okay, this is kind of just like...
Yeah, they didn't put too much focus on it. You're kind of right on that.
And then you start to unlock all the stuff throughout Chapter 1 even, and you're like, wow, there's actually a lot of depth to the combat, more than a lot of people let on to.
But isn't that kind of badass, though, like turning your sidekick into a little demigod?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes your journey feel like a supernatural game of Pokemon, in my opinion. I thought it was really, really badass. And, I know you referenced it right at the top of Pause and Repeat, but I think it is also worth noting, though, like, yes, we have heard from gaming journalists that are grumbling about Black Myth Wukong's success, despite its 96% rating on Steam and over 2.3 million concurrent players at launch. I think that is remarkable. And don't they realize that, like, in the end, no one cares where the game is published? I know that was like a majority of the backlash. It was like, hey, I think it's kind of weird that the majority of the player base is coming from China. I mean, dude, come on. Did anybody kind of say all that kind of stuff when Halo came out? Like, hey, like a good majority of the people from America and Europe are playing Halo. So I think the success, is not being, accurately measured. Like, really? Is that really where we're going?
At the end of the day, people are going to vote with their wallets, and you could even say this about anything that goes out in media. And I mean, we have seen this before in even video games. I mean, look at what happened with Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah,
that was a
perfect
success
example
for Warner Brothers, but so many people were like, "You cannot play this game. If you play this game, you're a bad person." And I feel like a lot of the same sentiment has come around with this game too. But clearly, if the game is successful, it's doing something right, and the gamers enjoy it. So,
and thankfully, it's free of feminist propaganda and COVID-19 chatter. And I kind of think I figured, well, I mean, feminist propaganda could have probably been introduced with the 16th century literature.
Do you have the notes right by you? Is that what you're reading off right now?
Yeah, right, exactly. But it's like, that was because of this whole do's and don'ts list, where really when they were handing out gaming keys, they didn't want people to really focus about the Chinese politics of things, really just focus on the gameplay, which is what we're trying to do here on Pause and Repeat. But if you, like, I'm going to go back on it again. I mean, if you like that OG style of God of War trilogy, I think you're really going to love this game. Give it a chance. And it's only $60 compared to like a lot of the other gaming, day ones where they want $70, or maybe, I don't know if you heard about the drama with Star Wars Outlaws, where, if you had the 3-day early access, you paid $110. Oh, by the way, this game is really, really buggy. You got to start over. Your savings won't progress. So we're going to make you go back to day one with everybody else. Crazy, just insane. So, like, give a lot of shout outs to Black Myth Wukong. So clearly, as the gamers, I'm sure, can hear from the tone of my voice, this is a repeat. You're gonna have a blast playing this, and I'm sure I've already missed a few of these bosses along my own journey, and I cannot wait to play this for a third and fourth entry. What about you, HenricK the Wreck?
Yeah, this is a definite repeat for me also, and I'd say even if you wait for a sale, you're just going to get a better value out of this game, because it's already got a lot of value at full price. So that's your discretion if you want to wait, but I'd say go for it if you see any bit of gameplay that you think you'd enjoy.
Well,
This is a fun time.
it definitely feels like the summer game of the year, but whether it is the game of the year, that is what we'll have to wait and decide.
There's still time left.
And there is they still got a good window of lineup of competition in their way as well. But hey, this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. We got a lot more here, so stick around. Are you ready to rock and roll, HenricK the Wreck?
Absolutely, let's get it.
Hey, come on now, let's get it. Woo! What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. PlayStation's Concord, a game that's been cooking for 8 years, basically since Overwatch was just a newborn, finally launched with under 700 players on Steam. And hold up. Am I seeing that rightly? I know I'm a 4-eye guy, but wow, under 700. Okay. So the numbers are so low that the gaming journalists everywhere had to double check their screens thinking Steam might have glitched. And let's not forget the open beta, 2,300 players maxed out when it was for free, but now they're asking $40 for what looks like an exclusive club of crickets.
Yeah, and actually the concurrent players is lower today than the screenshot we have, which is wild. It's
again, yeah, right, because this is the screenshot at launch. And so before we even chime into everything, let's go ahead and hear what gamers have to say about Concord Online with the following. So the first comment we got here is, imagine releasing a $40 hero shooter that does nothing innovating and has to compete with free-to-play games that have decade head start. Insanity. The only way I could have seen this game succeeding is if they did what Overwatch could not, a story-driven campaign. I think that is a very, very excellent point, HenricK. I mean, it's hard to relate with your characters if you want us to pay for a $40 game when this is just really like a copy paste of what we're about to already have, which is Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, I mean, Overwatch did that too, and it was successful in doing that. And granted, this game is not like Overwatch. It's more kill-oriented in the game modes than Overwatch is, where Overwatch is more objective-based. Yeah. But at the same time, everyone's perception by just being a hero shooter is, oh, it's Overwatch. And I'd say public perception of hero shooters, especially Overwatch, is just down. Especially when you look at a game that being $40 and all the other ones being free, it's just not a good look.
Oh, absolutely. And even like this person wrote, it's hilarious that they have learned nothing from Battleborn and Lawbreakers, catastrophic failures, which is a very, very good point. The F is Concord, which that again, I think is a fair comment. Like, this was something that Sony was really thinking was going to be that next great summer game for their console.
Something I did realize also, with comments like this, is that there wasn't a whole lot of marketing for the game. I mean,
it really fell flat.
But it was announced, and then it came out so shortly after. It was like, maybe you guys could have let it cook in the oven for a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, come on, this had a worse launch than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. No wonder people had no idea what Concord is. Concord comes out, deadlock. Let me just officially be announced real quick. Oh, and I'm free. Just need an invite that's super easy to get. So there are, like another person referenced, free-to-play games are absolutely killing newer IP, which, could be problematic. Did anybody expect anything else? And another person followed up, nope, but it's fascinating that so many people in charge did not saw that coming. Goes to show people in charge have no clue. Sony looked at that and bought the studio like 2 years ago. So some people feel like it's, the wigs at the top that are making these decisions for the studios or developers, or maybe they just did a bad job. Let's just call it for what it is. And the character design is just straight up bad. I want nothing to do with them. Imagine paying $40 to look at these hideous characters when I can look at Widowmaker for free right now on Overwatch. And, some people were even laughing at Concord, kind of making the reference to HenricK a little bit, saying, it's kind of like a DEI project, because I don't know if you've seen the lineup. There ain't a single Chris Collins. There's no white guy, blonde hair. hair, blue eyes. So, I mean, take that for what you will. I don't really care. If the gameplay's cool, the gameplay's cool. But, like, that was what some other people were referencing. But, HenricK, is PlayStation Concord the ultimate test of patience or just one of the worst major game launches ever?
Well, I'm going to say right now, either someone is going to lose their job because they lost Sony so much money, or Sony's going to take the route of, okay, well, we lost a lot of money in this, so we're going to write off what we can, and we're going to cut corners on other things where we can. You know, maybe some other people will lose have more layoffs in their departments as a result of this, which is really unfortunate because at the end of the day, there's people behind projects like this, and it doesn't matter who you are. It sucks to lose your job, but also, come on, you can't say that this is not like a terrible launch, because it absolutely is.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, especially for a game that took 8 years. I mean, clearly you guys saw something that was worth investing in, and you found this to be the perfect opportunity to introduce the game, only to not even break over 1,000 concurrent gamers,
And that's
which
the thing.
is
If
crazy.
it took 8 years, let's think back 8 years ago. Maybe if this game had come out like 6 years ago, it would have done better. But the atmosphere and the whole industry has changed, and now a game like this can't really last the way that it is.
And I feel like that comment actually gives merit to like why this game could have had a little bit more of a successful launch if it actually did introduce a story campaign, because when you look at movie IPs that turn a horrendous video game franchise like Golem the video game, which had more of a concurrent viewership, gameplay at launch.
Somehow.
I mean, what does that say? I mean, I'm just really dumbfounded by, you know, the results of all this. And even like, hey, Helldivers 2 pulled in, 10 times the amount of gamers, at launch, and then continued to be evolved into something even greater. But now it's kind of slowly dwindled at the moment. But still, it had a lot more of a stronger response, and a game that was also equal that $40 at price of launch. And maybe that's kind of the thing that people are starting to hate. Why open up a free open beta only to release it, 2 weeks, a month from now for $40?
Yeah.
It really doesn't make any sense, and probably would have been the best move is for them to just hold back and, I hate to even say it, but turn it into a battle pass. And maybe they might do that, HenricK. Might show up on the PS Premium soon, and or just
kill it. It's going to be the only way for them to get people to even try the game at this point, it feels like. So.
Or it might be the next Redfall, where they promise all these new deliveries, and then in a year from now, they go, sorry, we're shutting off the server, and we'll allow you, the gamers, to create your own online gameplay with this horrendous mess. We're moving on. Maybe that's the smart move. But then again, let's leave it with that final note. Is this one of the worst major game launches ever, or is there a game that we're not thinking about that holds the golden throne for, just one of the worst deliveries ever? Let us know what's good. But HenricK, hey, set up the tone for this next topic of conversation.
Microsoft's Xbox and Sony's PlayStation have always been the Pepsi and Coke of gaming, bitter rivals with dedicated fan bases. But after sealing the Activision deal last fall, Xbox has been pulling moves that have fans scratching their heads like they're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Xbox owners thought these big acquisitions would mean more exclusives to flaunt, but instead, here comes Indiana Jones and the Great Circle in December, exclusively for Xbox and PC.
I'm so excited.
And just to stir the pot, Indiana Jones will be making a PlayStation debut in spring 2025.
Yeah, that's
Talk
right.
about a plot twist.
See,
It's
now
not even going to be there on Xbox forever.
Right, and I didn't mean to cut you off like that, but all I'm just saying is, like, earlier in the year, I was like, am I starting to regret getting the PlayStation 5? Have I made that wrong mistake? Are we not getting, games from, other consoles? But you know what? Hey, this is a major plot twist. You're so right.
Yeah. But of course, gamers responded to the news with the following comments that we have.
Oh, yes, they did. I love to see some Xbox fans get pissed about this. This is great. All these acquired studios are finally starting to line up with consistent releases, and Xbox isn't even giving themselves a chance to see if that can boost hardware sales. It's jumping the gun. IMO. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people just really feel like, what's the point of even buying a console from Microsoft if we're not gonna, get these promised deliveries that are only specified for their product?
And like they're
go for it.
saying, they're announcing so soon that it's coming to another platform. Why even bother to get it in the first place when you can just wait a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, if Xbox doesn't care for exclusivity, then what will be the attraction for the consumer to buy an Xbox when they can have Xbox titles on PlayStation whilst enjoying PlayStation exclusives? Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, a lot of people kind of were wondering, like, why like the 3-month turnaround when usually PlayStation titles stay on the console for about 2 years and then get introduced to the PC. Another person wrote, we Xbox fans waited 10 plus years to finally start getting some of the first party exclusives, and this is what happens. This should serve as a great reminder that brand loyalty means nothing to these companies. Wow, this is, very harsh criticism. People will follow a plan, even a bad plan, but they need the plan outlined. And that's the issue here. The customer base doesn't know what the plan is. This leads to the online group freak out anytime Xbox does anything because nobody knows what it means. And let's go into another comment where this person wrote, they may have a plan, but the amount of doubt they are putting into the fan base is going to be the death of them, as everyone is losing trust at this point, even hardcore Xboxers. And last, agreed. I've consistently had Xboxes since the original Xbox. I'm not a diehard fanboy. I just enjoy the likes of Halo too much, and I've got a big catalog of games that I own tied to my account, but I'm 100% going with the PlayStation Next Gen. It just feels like you're choosing to miss out on games by going with Xbox. I don't even feel like there will be any more Xbox consoles after the next one. And maybe, Sony heard this news and that's why they're increasing the console to $90 in Japan only, as they say. But Henrik, is Microsoft trying to play the role of the strict parent, giving Xbox everything it asked for and now saying, hey, we gave you all the toys. You better make sure you give us everything that we asked for, worth the price of the admission? I mean, I'm really curious about this. It feels like Microsoft is putting added pressure on Xbox to make it right. Because, come on, in the end, money revenue, we're giving it to you. You better deliver on your promise. So how do you react with this news?
I mean, the only thing is, what they're doing is not actually helping them, Like, even just the fact of them putting their games on Xbox and PC at the same time, yeah, Microsoft is still making a profit if you buy from, them that way on PC, but you're not going to want to buy an Xbox if you have a PC. And then when you have the game coming out in such a short time on PlayStation as well, well, if you have a PlayStation, why would you get an Xbox? Because you can just wait, and all of a sudden now you have it on PlayStation.
Well,
so I
remember
feel like right now what makes most sense for gamers is if you're going to have any multiple of consoles, it's going to be you have the PlayStation, the Switch, because the exclusives there are exclusives to just that console. And then if you want, you can get a PC, and you can get all the things that fill in between.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I do feel like, there is still some leverage with Microsoft with this kind of plan move because, again, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle does release in December, which is, the Christmas holidays. So Xbox players are going to be like the ones that are going to be jumping onto this first along with the PC gamers. So there is still a bit of that same grab as well. And they're not doing exactly what was delivered with one of their acquisitions, right? Which was Starfield. That was a big promise that was going to deliver to a lot of Xbox gamers on day one, dropped on the Game Pass, and really kind of failed miserably. And I think with a lot of this kind of added notion that's been happening behind the scenes, I feel like Phil Spencer's kind of lost the faith and trust of Microsoft behind the scenes. And I think the big wigs have stepped in and said, hey, listen, look, when you get reports like, where 4.5 million PlayStation 5 consoles were shipped in the first quarter of 2024, with Sony selling roughly 5 times as many units as Microsoft's Xbox Series XS consoles in the first 3 months of this year. Yeah, I think that's going to start to freak out Microsoft a little bit. And don't you find it kind of ironic, too, that they've been partnering up with like Nvidia Go and more different, cloud streaming outlets? I really don't know where their main focus is. Is Microsoft really truly abandoning the hardware and really kind of just focusing on being like the gaming library for all things to come. And that's why I keep saying cloud gaming, smart TV. Is that the route that Microsoft would like to lean in moving forward? It kind of feels like we're starting to see that transition.
They've probably seen that, hey, we're really losing on the hardware side, and I wager that a lot of people who are console-only gamers, like they have the option of only choosing one console, and they can't have multiple. They probably are going to be more leaning towards the side of getting a PlayStation. So that doesn't help them either. And so when Xbox is looking at this, they're probably thinking of other ways to make money that don't involve selling hardware. And that's when things like cloud gaming comes into play, because you don't have to have hardware for that. You can just sell it as a service, just like you can sell Game Pass.
Or just like how you can license video games, to these, cloud gaming services. Because again, it was like, you had these bitter rivals. You wanted to play Halo. You wanted to play Gears of War. You had to get an Xbox. It's just like how we're not talking about Nintendo. They're, I guess, the Dr. Pepper of the Pepsi and Coke, right? But they have their own franchises. If you want to play their selective of exclusive games, you're going to have to better buy that console. We're going to see whether, this big three actually kind of starts to get split apart. I don't know if it's going to come anytime soon, but I feel like out of the three, it feels like Microsoft's moving the fastest away from hardware and just not putting as much focus. We'll see if I'm wrong or not, but just to kind of leave it on a final note, Sony's consoles has sold a total of 59.2 million units in total since its launch in November 2020. And like I was kind of referencing, a $90 markup has just happened with the price hike just for the country of Japan only. And who knows whether that's going to take effect for the holiday season. So maybe you might want to get your PS5 now. Maybe join in along for the fun side. We will see what's good. So, hey, are you ready to transition, HenricK?
Yeah, let us know what's going on with the eSports Awards.
Yeah, let's go right on into it. The eSports Awards 2024 held on August 24th in Saudi Arabia alongside the Esports World Cup turned into a full-blown drama fest online. While fans were ready to cheer, they got a shocker when Samantha Rivers snagged Streamer of the Year over heavyweights like Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed. So as you can clearly see, with this roster, people were going, at least on the Western side, I don't know who Samantha is. Who is this girl?
This is not an English-speaking streamer, so everyone who speaks English only and doesn't speak Spanish is going to be who is
yeah,
this?
you're gonna be scratching your noggin a little bit. Yeah, so true. And just to crank up the controversy to 11, Riot Games walked away with Esports Game of the Year for Valorant, proving that sometimes the most shocking moments in esports aren't on the battlefield, but on the award stage. And so gamers around the world reacted to this year's esports awards with the following. The disrespect towards Speed is beyond outrageous. He is absolutely deserved to win Streamer of the Year. This man traveled across Europe, jumped into supercars, or more like jumped over supercars.
Yeah.
Streamed Minecraft for 100 hours straight, and even caused riots in some countries due to his massive influence. I think that's very fair. He definitely was all over the world this year. And, again, we're all kind of scratching our noggin like, who the F is that clown? I don't know if she's a clown. She still has a massive fan base behind her. It's just whether was she deserving? It's a bit, people are still wondering. No hate to the creator, but no one effing knows who that is. How did she win Streamer of the Year when Kai is literally pulling 2 million views plus per stream, including VODs, by the way? Not to mention Speed, who traveled all of Europe and was pulling millions of views per stream. So, a lot of people just feel like, when you're playing video games and doing in real live streams, if you can master both, you should have been, the Streamer of the Year. The silence was so loud, laughing out loud. Most people who watch these shows don't really care about esports multiplayer games unless it's FG. Also, we got another comment that says the online casting and production value for Valorant, like I'm watching VCT, is just extraordinary. They really put a lot of effort and a lot of good people into the production and how watchable it is. Yes, you get to recognize the teams and the stars, but I think the gameplay and the way that it's produced really lends itself to being a really fun game to watch. So at least out of the herd of negativity, there is one positive. And last, actually kind of comical for it to win at the EWC when it wasn't one of the featured competitions. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that is really ironic, huh?
Yeah, so HenricK, are you joining the chorus of gamers crying rigged at the 2024 eSports Awards, or do you think it's all part of the show?
Well, here's the thing about a lot of the awards ceremony. You know, any of them. You could even say this about the big ones, you know, like the Oscars. A lot of it, it's like, cool, yeah, it's awesome to get the award, but the award ceremonies can't always please everyone. Leonardo DiCaprio can't always win an Oscar, even if you want him to be the winner of the Oscar that year, because everyone has, something to show who has been nominated at least.
Yeah.
So when it comes to this too, yeah, a lot of people who got nominated for Streamer of the Year and the other games that got nominated for Esports of the Year, they had a lot to show. But for some reason, they just decided those were the people who decided to get the awards this year. You know, Valorant got the award, and this streamer Rivers got the award.
But
now, whether you agree with that is a different story, because I mean, I think you can't put aside, at least when it comes to the streaming side of things, that Kai Cenat and iShowSpeed have amazing viewership compared to a lot of other people out there. Kai even breaks records when it comes to viewership and people subbing to him and all that. So you can't just say that that's not an achievement in itself.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, they have a lot to show, but not a whole lot of coverage behind the Esports Awards, you know, because they were coming under fire for their decision just to partner up with the Esports World Cup. And so several panel members, including past host Golden Boy, have taken to social media to announce they will not be involved with the awards moving forward. I thought that was pretty remarkable. And just to kind of highlight some of the things that we've covered before when it came to the Esports World Cup, you know, a lot of people were throwing out the word sports washing, right? That is defined as the use of a sport to redirect public attention away from the unethical conduct which Saudi Arabia is been accused for repeatedly. But less of that has actually been flooded into this award show. It's more about just the questionable actions of who won. And, you know, to be fair towards Rivers, you know, this was a fan voting system. So it's not like the Oscars, like you kind of referenced, where they have a guild of, you know, special people representing it. Like there was no special panel of all the voting. So like, that's why, you know, a bit of people are kind of going like, where was the main focus? Clearly not the English speaking countries were very involved with this award show. That's kind of what it's giving me the vibes, because, you know, come on, Spanish speaking, it's prolific all across the globe. And let's not kid ourselves either. I mean, she's got over 6.3 million followers on Twitch, but when you do kind of rank it up, she is the 10th ranked amongst female streamers in Q2 of 2024. So HenricK, when you see this chart right here, I mean, you start to kind of understand where gamers were like, okay, this is kind of weird. And so I guess that's what I'm asking. Maybe the fan voting system should go away. And should they actually create a guild? But it's kind of hard to create a guild if no journalists and gaming studios want to be a part of it.
and you did make a good point about that, you know, that maybe when it comes to this awards ceremony, there was just more reach in her audience that she had compared to audiences like Kai Cenat's audience, you know. Probably a lot of people who follow
Maybe
him
those streamers weren't pushing
didn't
it.
even know that he was there.
You see them all the time. They're like, you know, you see like I saw this video with iShowSpeed. They're like, this is my little brother, man. Let's get him to like 50,000 subscribers. I didn't see any of those two main streamers, Kai Cenat or iShowSpeed, even kind of push for, you know, the Esports Awards show. So maybe that's on them, because again, it is a fan voting system. And maybe
I'm sure if they did actually make maybe more of an effort, then probably they would have won over this other streamer.
But then you also got other streamers that weren't like, that could care less at even being represented with this award show, because they do not have that kind of following. Like Asmon Gold, for example, came out and said that he was asked to be a part of the Esports Awards, but he kind of laughed it off and said like, I just didn't really want to do it, because I have a way larger fan base than this award show, so like they need me more than I need them, and so like I understand how that could be quite laughable. But I gotta say, we gotta show this viral clip before we move on to the next subject, because Valorant's 4 nominations turning into 4 wins made for an acceptance speech that was less of like a thank you and more of like, yeah, I think we're starting to be a little bit more surprised as you are. Wink, wink. If you don't know what I mean, let's go ahead and show you the clip.
Hello. Well, thank you so much. I hope you're not sick of Riot yet, but we love you all for this award, and thank you so much for it. To our players and to our community and our teams, this means so much because of you. Your courage, your ambitions, it's brought Valorant eSports to what it is today, and we're so grateful for it.
They didn't think they were going to win all the stuff, and that in itself kind of shows, hey, that, you know, that, and also the fact that they didn't actually have Valorant in the competition is just like, what's going on here?
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, or maybe they kind of sniffing out what's going on in the room, because again, you know, Riot Games actually had close ties with Saudi Arabia, and then they kind of split back around 2020, and maybe this is Saudi Arabia's way of being like, we will continue to support you, and the more awards that you accumulate from our award show will mean more money revenue coming your way. So if we can put you on the grand screen,
you know, we want to work together.
A little bit of something in return, right? Little fishy. Do you call fishiness on a lot of this, or do you feel like this was a very, very fair and accurate? Should fan voting systems stay in place, or should they really focus on winning the trust back from journalists and video game studios and developers across the world? Let us know what's good. But HenricK, set it off, baby.
Yeah, we're back at it again with another Reddit debate. And this time, we're asking why the best pirate-themed video games either have you swabbing the deck of nostalgia or wondering if the only good pirate adventures are hidden in treasure chests labeled not actually about pirates.
Feels like that.
Yeah, I mean, with all the different pirate games that come out, especially the one that came out this year.
Or you get naval combat that's like excellent, but you're like no pirate aesthetic at all.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, gamers have shared their thoughts on the debate with the following comments that we have.
Pirates of the Caribbean, aka Sea Dogs 2, is 2003 RPG that was pretty solid. Published by Bethesda. Also, you could recruit crew, buy new ships, upgrade your character, explore the seas and land. It was pretty legit. Yeah, that was kind of something that people were asking for with this one. What was it? Quadruple A game?
Yeah, Sea of Thieves.
Right.
Or not Sea of Thieves. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, you're not Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Skull and Bones. Exactly.
I don't know why I tried to slander Sea of Thieves there.
No, I mean, well, because, you know, Sea of Thieves is actually not becoming exclusive anymore, right? You know, like those Xbox gamers are saying,
true, yeah.
Damn you, giving everything away to everybody else. But, you know, when I read this comment, I thought, you know, wow, this was a game back that was a 2003 RPG, especially with the Disney and the Fortnite collaboration. Could Fortnite explore something along this line with their own special worlds revolving around their movie IP? I'd like to see it happen. Do you have any faith that Epic Games could do this?
I don't know, really. I feel like they could do it as like a part of Fortnite, maybe, like a separate mode, you know, like they've done with the Lego Minecraft thing that they did as well.
Yeah, they've never really explored naval combat before, so it's just a random thought.
And they do have boats in the game, so
right,
halfway there.
Halfway. Sid Meier's Pirates, while unquestionably dated, has aged pretty well. Still fun, even compared to modern games attempting the same gameplay. So yeah, I mean, that's really for like more of the PC gamer route. I just don't know if it would translate as well towards the console, but I could be wrong.
It's a little difficult to play that kind of game with a controller compared to keyboard and mouse, I feel like.
Right, compared to like this comment, which I think more people would be more in tune with. Imagine a pirate game made like Red Dead Redemption 2 with some ideas from AC Black Flag, like upgrading the ship, taking care of your crew, treasure hunting, scavenging underwater. So yes, I think that would be incredible.
And see, this comment is exactly what Skull and Bones was supposed to be. Because when you look at some of the Assassin's Creed Black Flag gameplay, you have shipboarding that is just awesome. You know, you go up to another ship, you jump across, You fight some dudes with swords. You shoot another dude on the other side of the ship, or you miss because it's really inaccurate.
Yeah.
But it's just Skull and Bones didn't deliver that. The boarding, for example, in that game was just, okay, we got to lower the health of this other boat, and then we're going to grapple them and then play a cutscene. And now you have your loot. There you go.
There you go. There you have it.
Doesn't sound exciting.
Right. Well, this comic got me laughing. Guess we know who won the Pirates versus Ninja Wars. So maybe Assassin's Creed should have focused on making a pirate-focused game in the end instead of their hodgepodge of what they claim is rewriting history or accurately writing history, correct?
They can't go back to the Assassin's Creed Black Flag kind of gameplay.
Because it's always going to be judged around Black Flag. Is that what you're saying?
And people would also not necessarily trust them to do it right in the first place now that their reputation is what it is.
Hey, I mean, we've had multiple interpretations around Ezio's story. I don't see why we can't revisit this once crowned pirate himself. I can't remember his name.
True.
I know. And another comment wrote, AC Black Flag is the best pirate game. Sea of Thieves is a lot of fun with friends. People might fight this characterization, but the best video game where you set the high seas, engage in cannon fights, and travel from island to island, killing the locals and taking their money is Legend of Zelda. The Wind Waker. Ooh. I have to give it to him. I do really like that, that naval combat. I think it is a lot of fun. What do you say? I mean, you're kind of giggling about this notion. I mean, you might not see this as a pirate game.
I actually played Wind Waker, or replayed it, I should say, because I played it when I was a child. But I replayed it, last year when I had COVID at one point. I was like, let me have this time to revisit a classic. I'll say that the naval combat is not as good as I remember.
So this is not
as good as I remember.
Yeah, so this is just an old gamer reminiscing about the old times. And another person writing again, Pirates of the Caribbean Online was pretty lit. And finally, someone says it in this thread: peak pirate gameplay. So HenricK, can a pirate get some sea legs around here? What? Yeah.
It is a genre that hasn't been fully fleshed out yet, so
it definitely does feel like that. And I mean, why do the best pirate video games feel like buried treasure or either too old to plunder? Why is that the case? Why does nobody ever want to approach these kind of style of games? Maybe it's because we're calling for less open world games, and maybe that's why we'll never see one anytime soon. Or maybe they don't need that open world aspect. Maybe if they just have some really good naval gameplay with the fun, multiplayer environment, might be enough. I mean, everybody's so focused on these 5 versus 5 hero shooter. Maybe they need a 5 versus 5 pirate naval combat video game. That would be kind of cool.
With good marketing too, because that's the thing too. Is if you don't market that, and if you're just an indie studio making something amazing, if you don't market that, people are not going to play.
I mean, that could be kind of cool.
The thing is, it needs marketing.
It could be. I mean,
I think there really could be a good game to come out of this genre of pirate themes.
Well, I'm just thinking out loud. You don't have to keep it all old school. You can kind of give it like more of a modern approach. Give it like that hero style and like make every kind of aesthetic around this pirate ship to really captivate the character at play, and you could really turn this into what everybody hates, a monetization system with cosmetics towards your ship, and give the people what they want. But I guess the only problem is the sea's kind of flat. The Earth's not flat, but the sea's kind of flat. So I don't know what else kind of custom maps there's
gonna
put
be. like islands in the way, and like rock formations, maybe an iceberg or two.
A broken ship just with its nose sticking straight up,
like
the Titanic. I don't know. The Titanic.
You could
map.
summon the
Don't
Kraken.
hit the iceberg. Yeah, release the Kraken. Yeah, there's a dragon that's like randomly floating in the air. Like, why is he picking on me? Like Ninja getting mad that all these stupid bots are just way better than him. I don't know. I think this is a really good brainstorming, that we're doing right now. But then again, we need to hear from you, the gamers. Would you like to see a pirate video game in the horizon, or would you just rather, reminisce on something else. Let us know what's good. Tell us your best ideas. But man, we want to thank everyone for tuning into Rage Quit. We want to make sure that you guys like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you're not following my YouTube channel, scan the QR code. You know the drill, so you never miss a live show.
And go ahead and scan that QR code on your screen as well, because you'll go to my YouTube channel. Go like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what I'm doing right. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. I want to hear from you.
Yeah, you know, constructive criticism is always necessary for the growth of a content creator like the one and only HenricK the Wreck. And we can't thank you guys enough for always tuning in live at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because without you gamers, Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show would not be possible. Enjoy the weekend. Lots of love. You know, call your mom, call your dad. If your gamer friend doesn't want to jump online, shame on him. He's a loser. You play all the video games all throughout the week, and we'll see you next week.
And most importantly, do play some games.
Yes.
Make some time.
Make some time, fam. We'll see you next week. Peace.